Amanda with StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com, and today we're going to talk about when to power chain. Specifically, what is the lightest wire you can power chain on and get away with it without having side effects happening? And I have a bunch of other videos on power chaining. So again, as always, I have over 3,000 videos. I'm not going to repeat things. If you want to know the basics on short, open, continuous chain, how to power chain, how it works, picking chain, when is your chain old, all those type of videos, you can just go into my channel, in my StraightSmile Solutions channel, look for that little tiny magnifying glass and put in your keyword, which is power chain, 2 different words, and all those videos will come up. Today we're going to talk about what's the lightest wire you can power chain on. And this is just my opinion, which is going to be different from 6 Month Smile's opinion or some other opinions you might get from Garrity or POS or some of these other ones. But this is just, I've seen so many mistakes people have made, and I've seen the danger and the damage it can cause teeth when you power chain on the wrong wire. And it can actually make things not only dangerous, but it can also make things take longer. And of course, damage roots, PDLs, things like that. So this is kind of my safe way. Now remember, anytime you have a patient that has space, even if they didn't start with space, even if you're just aligning and leveling and spaces kind of open up, that's just what happens as you start to align and level. You just let the patients know, hey, I see there's spaces here. I know you're probably super excited to get these spaces closed, but there's a time and a place to close the spaces, and we want to close them safely, efficiently, and in a healthy manner. And if we rush the space closure and do it at the wrong time, dangerous things can happen. And it can actually make your treatment take longer as well. So we're going to do things at the right time. And just keep them posted, because it is definitely probably in those top 5 questions that comes up from patients and parents. When are you going to close my space? So I normally do not even think about power chain until I'm in 18 NiTi and I'm in passive 18 NiTi. So you can't just throw an 18 NiTi in on the first, wire when things are still crooked and you haven't aligned and leveled. I mean, once you've finished aligned and leveling, and if you go through my wire sequence videos, another good keyword for you, look up wire sequence. I take you through the wire sequence. I'm not going to repeat all that, but normally, once you get to the 18 NiTi stage and it's aligned and leveled, it's done. You're almost ready to move up to the rectangular wires. I tell doctors to take a break, double check all their bracketing. This is the time and the place to do your repose. Repose usually means you're going to take a pan. If it's been a little while and it's a complicated case, I also recommend taking a progress pano, double check all your bracketing, do your repose at this stage, okay? We're still haven't closed space yet. You do not close space until you finish this stage, which is the repose stage. Now, of course, if you are not doing direct bond, if you're doing indirect bond and using computerized bracket placement, assuming the patient didn't break any brackets, you shouldn't have any repose. So again, a little plug for indirect bonding. It saves you a ton of time. Of course, orthodontists may or may not do it. We do it sometimes to save time, so we can do a bunch of bondings at 4 p.m., because there's a doctor can only be one place at a time, right? So that's why we might do indirect bonding, even though we know how to place brackets. But we're also not perfect. Sometimes things slide, slip. Sometimes, we had a hard time seeing tiny mouth, difficult patient, and things don't quite go on perfect. So, a couple months down the road, when I get to that 18 NiTi, I'm going to go ahead and check everything slowly with a mirror, and I'm going to do my repose. And I usually have 1 or 2 repos. Now, of course, in the olden days, you would bend wires at the end, but from my experience, that is way less efficient and very difficult to learn. And to be honest, I think it's actually slower. So I know how to bend wires, and I basically don't do it. I mean, it's like very, 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 very rare. 1 in 300 cases. That's what I really mean, because I do the repose at this stage and I catch it. And I'm going to answer your question about the power chain. I haven't gotten there because I'm telling you the power chain comes after this stage. If you do things out of sequence, your case will take longer because you're going to have to go backwards later, right? If you do everything in a stepwise sequence and explain to the patient why you're doing it this way, they will understand. They're going to think you're super smart. So, you do your repose, and then once the repos are expressed and done, and I love it, this is where I actually turn it over to the patient, and if the patient's a minor, to the parent too, and I say, hey, this is the stage where you get to give me feedback. We have finished the straightening portion. We are done with the straightening portion. I know we have spaces. I know we might need to fix the bite a little bit, but the first part is done. Congratulations. Now, according to, in my opinion, but this, I always say orthodontics is as much of an art as it is a science. And there's sometimes little adjustments we can make if you don't love how they are straightened. And when I'm talking about straightening, I'm talking about ins and outs and ups and downs, and back and forths. So if you think that your canines, for example, should be a little longer or a little bit shorter, we can move them up and down. Same thing with your front teeth. Same thing, obviously there's limits. Anything that we do, there's pros and cons, and I can explain to you if you think we should make a change, what the pros and cons might be. I might agree, I might disagree, but if it's something I think that we can do, we can definitely do that. It might take another month or two, but we'll do that now, So if they say no, I actually don't even let them answer it at that appointment. I tell them, I want you to take a few weeks. I want you to go home. I don't want you to feel rushed. I want you to go home. I want you to ask your friends, families, cousins, parents, sisters, brothers, because there's nothing more annoying to me when I get to the very end and I'm so excited. The case is done. Wow, it looks so good. And they're like, I really think these laterals should be longer. I'm like, what? Why didn't you say something earlier? But it's really up to me, because I should tell them. I should give them an opportunity to weigh in. Because again, orthodontics, and sometimes I'll disagree and I'll say, no, we can't do this because, or this gum line will look funny. I really don't think this is a great idea. Here's why. And a lot of times they'll agree, right? But sometimes it's fine, you're right. I can see what you're talking about. I'm totally cool with doing that. Thank you for taking the time. And I want their whole extended family to weigh in, because if you give them a few weeks, to discuss it, then they come back and they report to you their answer. Their answer is either we are super happy, and then even sometimes if I have a difficult patient or parent, I'm gonna have them sign for it. I agree. I'm super happy with the alignment of my teeth. We are gonna move on to the space closure and the bite fixing stage. It's not like if it happened at the end later, I wouldn't do it, but at least I gave them an opportunity to weigh in, and it's highly unlikely that they're gonna wanna change things later, which is gonna save me a ton of time, right? Okay, so we finished that part. So we've done this whole stage, the align and level stage. Now we move on to space closure. Congratulations, we moved on to stage 2, okay, which is space closure. Now that's when I will start closing spaces. And if I'm in the 18 nitai, I will only close anterior spaces. So that means anterior chain only. On the top, that means 7 through 10 only. Mesial to mesial, single tie on the distal. On the lower, it means 22 through 27 only, or 3 to 3. Mesial to mesial, single tie on the distal. Not super heavy, moderate. I don't care if it's continuous, open, close. Watch my other videos on that. It really doesn't matter. I don't even stock all those different types because there's no point to that. In my opinion, it's just a sales thing to make more money for the bracket companies. And I tell you all about how that works. And you can even see here in some of these videos that they're using multiple links. There's an extra link there. There's a double link here. You don't have to put one link around each tooth. You can get continuous chain and put multiple links if you have bigger teeth or bigger spaces, right? And that's going to save you a lot of money because you really have to throw out your power chain at least every year because it does get old. You should fling it and get all new, because if your power chain is not working, again, another video you can watch, how to tell if your power chain is old. It's probably because it's old and it's not working anymore. But anyways, yeah, so if you're an 18 nitai, 2 to 2 on top, 3 to 3 on bottom, that's all you're going to do. Once those spaces are closed, if you're ready, you should be ready to move on to your rectangular wires. I put in an 1825, and now we can go ahead and power chain the rest. There you go. So I answered your question. And of course, at that time, if you have class 2 or class 3, you may not be power chaining 6 to 6. You might be doing things more segmentally or sequentially. Watch my videos on space consolidation for class 2 cases, space consolidation for class 3 cases. Those are there too. Those are good videos for you to understand that. And you might be using elastics to power chain. So don't just throw power chain everywhere, because if you don't have control of the space closure, you're going to screw things up big time. So, and it might change, 1 month, maybe we're going to power chain 6 to 6, top and bottom. And then they come in, I'm like, ooh, there's a little overjet. Okay, we're a little bit class 2. Okay, I'm going to change the way I'm going to power chain, and I'm going to do elastics here. And then they'll come back a month later and I'm going to change it again. So I said, it's almost impossible. So some of these bracket companies that are, orthodontic companies that are spitting out these treatment plans where they're telling you wire sequence from start to finish and mechanics, that's impossible. You have no idea to know how the patient is going to respond. Every month, you take another look. And you know what? If you need advice, this is what I do with my StraightSmile Solutions clients all the time. I strongly recommend that they have their patients, they use the same things that we do in with aligners or Invisalign where we have them checking in from home with either a dental monitoring system, a GP ortho tracking, a line flow, or any of these, or your own in-house system that's HIPAA compliant, where they send a set of photos, you give them a cheap set of retractors, a week before their appointment, you send them a text, hey, don't forget to send us your photos. The reason why it's great to do that, first of all, if you're learning, it's great because you can learn. You don't have to be on the fly. They come in the office and you're like, I don't know what to do here. But also you can prepare your tray and get everything ready so that their appointment is more efficient. You can schedule them a little tighter together. If something's not quite right, so you're prepared. And you can discuss it and think about it, because sometimes, when there's tons of patients in the chairs, you don't have time to, I'm all stressed out, I don't know what to do, right? Even for me, sometimes I have to take a breather, think. Orthodontics is a puzzle. And you have to be really good at puzzles. If you were good at that perceptual ability part on your dental test, then you probably would be good at ortho. But even sometimes for me, I gotta be like, oh man, I gotta think about this, what is the best way to do this? And of course, over time, you get really good at it because there's only so many different variables you're going to see, and you're going to be like, oh, I got this. But for you as a GP or a pediatric dentist, it's not going to come quickly. So it's best that you take the pictures a week ahead of time, check in. And of course, sometimes you find broken brackets in the pictures and you're like, hey, there's a broken bracket. Okay, well, we need to move your appointment to the morning or give you a longer slot. And it's going to save you a ton of time if you start doing this. It takes the patients 2 minutes to do it at home, and it's going to save you a ton of heartache and upset patients. But anyways, hopefully I answered your question about when to power chain. Do not power chain on anything less than 18 night tie, and only after the brackets are done and everyone's happy with how straight things are and you finish your first order alignment. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, thank you.